I'm Rose, and I just picked the worst possible time to argue with 3 stubborn princes. Each prince thought he knew best, and none of us were willing to back down. Our horses shifted slightly, and the cliff beneath us started to crumble. 1 second we were yelling, the next we were free-falling into the fog below. Some miracle landed us on this narrow stone platform, but our fight was far from over. I was still furious at Ace, so I grabbed a rock and threw it straight at him. Ace didn't even flinch. He deflected the rock with his bow like it was nothing. The rock flew straight for Nate, and his quick dodge shifted the platform's fragile balance. The platform creaked and tilted dangerously, throwing us all off balance at once. Then, a massive gust of wind hit, and the fog cleared to show how terrifyingly deep the abyss was. I clung to the edge with all my strength, certain I'd fall into the abyss at any second. Ace regained his balance first, already drawing his bow like he expected more danger to come. Ren was scrambling on his hands and knees, his wolf instincts screaming this was a death trap. Nate looked just as annoyed as me, but we all knew we had to set our fight aside now. The platform started splitting down the middle, and we were running out of time to fix this. Another gust hit, and the platform shook so hard I thought it would shatter into pieces. More stone fell into the abyss below, and I realized we were seconds from falling too. None of us knew how to escape this mess, and the platform was giving way faster than we could think. Then, with a deafening crack, the platform split, and we all fell into the unknown fog below. One last scream escaped my lips as the fog swallowed us whole, and everything went completely black. I scrambled to balance our crumbling stone perch over the foggy, endless abyss. Ace and Nate huddled tight, clinging to the edge like their lives depended on it. Cracks snaked across the stone, inching closer to splitting us apart. My knuckles whitened as I clawed at the rough stone, fighting to stay upright. A shadow loomed above my tiny wolf companion, about to change everything. Custard transformed into a giant white wolf, his blue eyes blazing bright. He landed hard in the center, and the platform groaned under his massive weight. The cracks spread like wildfire, splitting the stone in seconds flat. We screamed in terror, knowing we were about to plummet into the fog. Ren's hand slipped from the edge, and we knew we were doomed. The platform split completely, sending us tumbling into the unknown below. I plummeted through the fog, my screams swallowed by the empty, cold air. Custard clung to the broken edge for a heartbeat, then followed us into the fog. We fell together, disappearing into the thick, endless fog. I reached for anything to grab, but only thin, cold fog met my fingers. Ace's bow slipped from his back, vanishing into the foggy void. Nate curled into a ball, his green eyes wide with pure terror. Our shadows faded into the fog, and I wondered if we'd ever see light again. Something moved in the fog below, something big and dangerous. I stared into the endless fog, unsure if we'd survive this fall. Custard's glowing blue eyes cut through the fog, our only beacon in the dark. We vanished into the fog, our fate completely unknown. I jolted awake on mossy ground, my face crusted with weird pollen. Where am I? The princes were passed out around me, still as statues. What happened to us? The trees twisted like living nightmares. This place is wrong, so wrong. Glowing green flowers dotted the ground, pulsing with strange energy. We were trapped in this cursed forest, with no memory of how we got here. I pushed myself up, my muscles screaming from the fall. My gear was intact, but I felt a weird chill crawling up my spine. Ace's face was slack, no sign of his usual sharp glare. Ren's amber eyes were shut tight, his breathing shallow. Nate's usually playful grin was gone, replaced by a pale, still face. I checked their breaths, thankfully, they were still alive. For now, a rustle from the bushes made me freeze. I wasn't alone here. A tiny white fox stepped out, its eyes glowing neon blue. This wasn't normal. Those eyes, they held intelligence, and something dark, mischief or malice. It stared at me, unblinking, like it was studying me, waiting for something. Then it happened. Bright white light exploded from its tiny body. The light washed over the princes, and their bodies went limp again. Ace's body went slack, like the light drained whatever strength he had left. Ren's chest stopped rising and falling for a heartbeat. Then it started again, slower. Nate's body went completely still, his face paler than before. I realized it then. This fox was the source of all our chaos. It was behind everything. My hand closed around my sword hilt. I wouldn't let it hurt them again. I stared it down, ready to fight. Whatever it wanted, I wouldn't let it win. But the fox just grinned, a knowing, mischievous grin that sent chills down my spine. The light grew brighter, swallowing everything. I had no idea what was coming next. I wake up in the cursed forest, the white fox nowhere in sight. The 3 princes still lie unconscious beside me, completely motionless. I see that Ace's earlier arrogance. He deserves this. I hurl a handful of dirt right at Ace's unresponsive face. Then he sits up mud caked on his cheeks, grinning like a fool. That's not Ace's scowl, it's Nate's smirk. In Ace's body. Then Ren stirs, a familiar growl rumbling from his throat. That's Ace's voice! Coming from Ren's mouth. This can't be real. No, the fox didn't just knock us out. It swapped our bodies. All of us are trapped in someone else's skin. This is a disaster. Nate's body scratches its head like Ren always does. This is too surreal. I can't wrap my head around this. How do we fix it? Even Ace's body is acting like Nate, fluffy hair and all. We have to find that fox. It's our only way back. The princes are fully awake now, all as confused as I am. Ace's voice booms from Ren's body. This is intolerable! I clench my fists. We have no choice but to hunt that fox down. Ren, inhabiting Nate's body, sniffs the air like a wolf tracking prey. I spot a dark shadow in the trees. The fox can't be far. We march into the forest, ready to confront the fox that did this to us. I grip my hook swords tightly. This time, I won't be caught off guard. Nate, in Ace's body, fumbles with the dual bow sword like it's foreign. We have to reverse this swap before something worse happens. I blinked awake in Ren's body. Why was I scratching my head like a goofy pup? Ace was in Nate's body, panicking over his messy hair like a vain peacock. Ren trapped in Ace's body, his earth magic wouldn't even spark to life. I stumbled back, tripping over a root. The swap was a total disaster. All three princes were trapped in wrong skins. Chaos was our new reality. Nate's goofy grin was plastered on Ren's face. This was way too wrong. Ace's hand was white-knuckled, clutching his hair. He hated this body. Ren stamped his foot, growling his powers were gone, vanished. I held my head in disbelief. How would we navigate the forest without their powers? We were stuck in this cursed forest, powerless and out of options. Ren's frustration oozed from Ace's cold face. He felt totally useless. Nate kept acting like Ren, scratching his neck and grinning like an idiot. Ace tried to dodge a falling branch Nate's speed. He tripped face first in mud. I furrowed my brow. We needed to fix this swap, fast, before worse came. The princes stared at each other's bodies, confusion mixed with distrust. Ren clenched Ace's fist tightly. His powerlessness ate at him. Nate waved at me like an idiot. He was way too comfortable in Ren's skin. I stood between them, heavy in my chest. We were stuck, and I had no plan. Ace kept fussing over his hair. Nate's vanity was rubbing off on him? No, he was just panicking. The cursed forest loomed over us, powerless. We were sitting ducks here. I clenched my hands. We had to find that fox spirit to fix this mess. Ren's eyes in Ace's face showed total defeat. He had no magic to rely on. Trapped in Ace's body, I tried summoning earth magic. Nothing happened at all. Ace, stuck in Nate's body, tripped over his own feet like a total fool. In Ren's body, I couldn't smell the forest. My wolf senses were gone. I turned to my loyal wolf, begging him to track that tricky white fox. But he refused. He hated that fox's foul, magical scent with a passion. Frustrated, I kicked a tree. My own strength felt like nothing. Ace landed face first in mud. His pride was definitely bruised. I couldn't stand not being able to sense my surroundings. This was torture. I knelt down, begging him. We had to fix this body swap mess. Custer's ears drooped. He wanted to help, but fear held him back. I pointed to Nate in Ren's body. Think of your friend, Custard. Finally, he gave in. He'd help us track that fox spirit. Relief washed over me. We had a chance to fix this chaos. Ace fussed over his hair. He hated being stuck in Nate's body. Nate in Ren's body grinned. He was ready for whatever came next. Custard sniffed the air, locking onto that fox's faint scent. I patted his head, thankful he'd chosen to stand with us. We followed Custard into the dark forest, ready to face whatever waited. I clenched my fist. We were going to reverse this body swap, no matter what. Then I heard it, that fox's high-pitched giggle, taunting us from the trees. Custard froze, hackles raised. He'd found the fox's hiding spot. We all stopped, tensing up. This was where we'd confront the trickster. I've got Custard on our side. We'll track that fox spirit down, no matter what. The princes are right behind me, bickering as usual, but we're a team now. But Custard's acting off. He won't even sniff the trail for me. I had to guilt trip him with Ren, turns out. That's the only way to get him moving. We trudged through the underbrush, the tension mixing with the forest's eerie quiet. Finally, Custard sniffs the air. He's picking up the fox's scent at last. He gives us a huff, like he's annoyed, but he's leading the way now. We follow close behind, the silence only making the forest feel more menacing. I keep my hook swords ready. Something about this forest feels wrong, like we're being watched. And then, Custard freezes. Every muscle in his body goes tight with tension. His hackles raise, and a low growl rumbles in his throat. He's scared and angry. I follow his gaze into the trees, my heart starting to pound faster with every beat. The princes go quiet too. Even Ace stops his grumbling, his bow ready in his hands. And then, I hear a high-pitched, giggling laugh right in front of us. Swap them back, now! I yell, my hook swords raised. That fox is so close. Ace knocks an arrow, his eyes fixed on the trees. He's ready for a fight. Ren's wolf traits start to show, and Nate grips his dagger tight. We're all on edge. A flash of white moves in the trees. That's it, that's the fox spirit we're hunting. Custard takes a step forward, his growl growing louder. He's ready to attack. We charge forward, ready to face whatever's waiting for us in those trees. That fox messed with us. Now it's time to make it pay for what it did. Custard growls, and there it is, the white fox, grinning on that rock. That mischievous grin, I knew it was up to no good from the start. I draw my hook swords, pointing right at its tiny smug face. Swap them back. Now, no more tricks, you tricky fox. Ace and the princes tense up, ready for whatever chaos it's planning next. It tilts its head, eyes glowing brighter. It's speaking right in my head. What's in it for me? It asks, like it has any leverage here. I clench my fist, ready to wipe that smug grin off its face. Or, I'll turn you into a scarf. Your choice. I don't back down an inch. It snorts, but that grin fades. It knows I'm not bluffing. It jumps off the rock, starting to circle us like a predator sizing up prey. It stops circling, eyes narrowing to slits. It's making a choice. Fine, but you'll regret this. Its voice echoes in my head, cold and sharp. Bright light bursts from its body. The princes cry out in shock and pain. The light engulfs them, and my heart drops, it's not stopping. The light keeps spreading, creeping toward me like an inevitable tide. It wraps around me too. I can't move, can barely breathe through the light. What have I done? This isn't reversing the spell, this is something worse. I can still see its eyes in the light. It's enjoying every second of this. Everything goes white. We're trapped, and I have no clue what comes next. The light cleared, and Ace was back in his own body. I let out a huge sigh of relief. Ren and Nate were back too, their goofy and flirty selves finally returned. But the white fox wasn't done. It tossed a glowing green flower right at me. Pollen drifted into my face, and my vision blurred instantly. I knew this was bad. The world warped around me, and the prince's figure started to shift into something else. Ace, the grumpy elf prince, had turned into a scowling black cat. Ren, my goofy wolf friend, was now a tiny chipmunk waving up at me. Nate? He'd become a red bunny, hopping around and cackling at my shock. I screamed so loud my throat burned. This was way worse than body swap chaos. I scrambled up the nearest tree, desperate to escape these talking creatures. The black cat sat below, glaring up like I was the one acting crazy. The chipmunk Ren just kept waving, like this was a normal day out. The red bunny hopped in circles, his laughter echoing through the forest. My hands shook as I clung to the branch, heart hammering in my chest. I couldn't process this first body swap, now animal hallucinations. What next? A gust of wind shook the tree, and I tightened my grip, scared I'd fall. From up high, I could see all three animals waiting for me to come down. The black cat swiped at the tree trunk, making a sharp, angry scratch. The branch under me cracked loudly, and I started to slip toward the ground. I fell straight into a bush of glowing green flowers, and everything went dark once more. When I blinked awake, the princes were back to normal, but I still felt dizzy. They looked worried, asking if I was okay, but I couldn't speak yet. Ren sniffed the air, his face pale. That wasn't just a hallucination. That was magic. Ace drew his bow, scanning the trees for the white fox spirit. I grabbed my hook swords, ready to fight whatever was coming. We were together now. I clung to that tree branch like my life depended on it because it did. Below me, the princes were back to their annoying normal selves. No more talking animals. Ace glowered up, yelling at me to get down like I was some idiot. Nate? He cackled, like this whole mess was just a stupid joke. Ren just waved, looking almost sad, like he knew something I didn't. I threw an acorn at Ace to shut him up. Stupid move. He kicked the tree so hard, the whole branch shook violently under me. A sharp crack split the branch right under my grip. My blood ran cold. I fell, screaming, as the branch broke completely. I was going to hit hard. I landed in a bush of glowing green flowers, petals exploding all around me. Pollen engulfed me, thick and sweet, clouding my vision instantly. My head spun, and the world started to feel distant, like a dream. Everything went black. I couldn't move, couldn't think, just darkness. The last thing I heard was the princes shouting, their voices muffled and far away. They ran to me, yelling my name, but I couldn't find the strength to answer. Ace reached for me, his hand shaking slightly. For once, he didn't look angry. I was still trapped in that cursed forest, with no clue what would come next. Those flowers, they weren't just pretty. They held some dark secret. I could feel it. Wait, my hand was glowing faintly blue. Had my magic finally started to return? But before I could check, a low growl echoed from the trees. Something far worse was coming. Ace already had his bow drawn, ready to fight whatever was coming for us. Ren's wolf ears perked up. He could hear it coming before any of us. We were trapped, injured, and something far more dangerous than before was heading straight for us. I woke up covered in pollen, my head still spinning from that fall. The princes were right there, shaking me awake like I was just napping. My hand scraped the mossy ground, still confused about where we were. I sat up, trying to get my bearings, when something caught my eye. The forest felt wrong, too quiet, like something was watching us. A tall shadow moved in the trees, taller than any spirit we'd seen. The princes followed my gaze, their playful vibes vanishing instantly. Glowing red eyes stared back. This wasn't a friendly spirit. Ren's nose twitched, his wolf senses picking up something terrible. "That's no spirit," he said, his face draining of color. "It's a monster!" Ace grabbed his bow, his fingers tightening on the wood like his life depended on it. Nate pulled out his dagger, already moving into a fighting stance. I grabbed my hook swords, my hands shaking but ready to fight. We formed a circle, our backs to each other, waiting for whatever came next. The ground started to shake, and that shadow got closer, growling low and deep. Dirt cracked under our feet, every shake making my heart race faster. I stumbled, grabbing a tree to keep from falling over. Ren's wolf ears twitched, ready to shift into his true form. Ace drew his bow, aiming straight at the trees where that growl came from. Then it emerged, giant clawed hands breaking through the trees, ready to attack. I didn't have time to be scared. We had to fight for our lives. The princes and I stood our ground, ready to face whatever this monster was. Its claws were sharp as knives, ready to tear us apart. Ren tensed, ready to shift into his wolf form and attack. The full monster stepped out, and we knew this fight was just beginning. The clawed monster burst from the woods, our peaceful standoff shattered in an instant. It loomed over us, its roar shaking the very trees around us. Ace didn't hesitate. He drew his bow and fired straight for its chest. I held my breath, certain we'd found our opening. But the arrow bounced off its hide like it was nothing. This thing was unbreakable. Ren didn't wait. His eyes flashed, and he shifted into his wolf form. He lunged for its leg, fangs bared, ready to tear through flesh. but the monster swatted him away like he was a fly. He crashed into a tree, yelping in pain. We were running out of options. Nate used his vampire speed to dart between its legs, slashing with his dagger. I screamed, the only command left. Custard, transform! My small brown wolf grew, glowing bright white. His giant form towered over us. He launched himself at the monster's throat, jaws wide to crush its windpipe. The monster howled in agony, thrashing as Custard's jaws locked on. But it didn't stay down. It slammed Custard into a tree, hard. I heard his whine, and my heart dropped. We'd lost our last weapon. The monster turned to me, its red eyes glowing as it raised its claw. I grabbed my hook swords, ready to fight even if it killed me. I wouldn't let it hurt my friends, not without a fight. The claw came crashing down, and I braced for the end. My sword cracked under the pressure. This was it. But then, a strange whisper filled the air, and blue light glowed in the trees. A ghostly woman appeared, her form glowing bright blue. We weren't alone. She raised her hand, and blue light shot toward the monster. The monster froze, then crumbled to dust. We were alive, but how? I froze, hook sword in hand, as the monster loomed over me, death just inches away. I couldn't move. Its claw was about to tear through me, and I thought this was the end. Then a blue light cut through the darkness. I thought I was hallucinating. A glowing spirit woman glided toward the monster, her hand raised like she held all the power. With a single gesture, she turned the monster to dust. I stared, too shocked to speak. She turned to me, her eyes soft. You are the tamer we've been waiting for, she said. Me? A tamer? I'd never even heard of such a thing before this mess. She floated closer, her hand reaching for my forehead. I didn't dare move. The second her skin touched mine, images flooded my mind too fast, too strange. A wooden chalice, glowing faintly, like it held the key to everything I didn't know. A cursed arm, oozing dark magic, belonging to the king who had been hunting me this whole time. And then, me, as a child, holding a tiny brown wolf that looked just like Custard. The images hit me so hard my vision blurred. I could feel myself falling, unable to stay upright. My eyes felt heavy, like someone was dragging me into a deep, dark sleep. The last thing I saw was the spirit woman's face, looking down at me like she knew something I didn't. My hand went slack, and my hook sword clattered to the ground beside me. The forest went silent, and the spirit's light wrapped around me like a blanket. She placed a hand on my chest, and I felt a faint warmth, even as I slipped into darkness. The wind rustled the trees, and moonlight filtered down, painting my face as I drifted under. I had no idea what any of this meant, but one thing was clear, my life would never be the same. Somewhere in the trees, I heard a familiar whimper. Custard, coming for me. He bounded toward me, his paws hitting the ground hard, like he knew I needed him. I jolted awake in the cursed forest, fragments of that blue spirit still burning in my mind. The princes were kneeling over me, their faces tight with worry. My head throbbed, and that blue spirit's face flashed behind my eyelids. Her voice echoed through the trees, sharp and urgent, cutting through the forest's silence. She told me the wooden chalice was hidden in the hollow forest. We had to beat Farius to it. I pushed myself up, my muscles screaming, and repeated the spirit's warning to the princes. Nate's face drained of color, his voice shook as he said Farius's minions were already in the forest. A low clink of armor cut through the air. We weren't alone anymore. Ace grabbed his bow, knocking an arrow before I could even finish speaking. Ren's knuckles whitened, his wolf senses already honing in on the intruders. I grabbed my wooden hook swords, my grip tight as the sound of armor grew louder. We had to protect ourselves and find that chalice before Farius did. Ren sniffed the air, his nose twitching. He could smell Farius's men before we saw them. We formed a tight circle, our weapons ready, as the clink of armor grew closer. Nate's dagger glinted in the faint light, his vampire speed ready to strike. Ace's arrow was aimed at the trees, his eyes locked on the direction of the armor. The spirit's blue glow faded, leaving only her warning ringing in our ears. My hands were sweaty, but I didn't dare look away from the trees. The shadows moved between the trees. Farius's men were almost upon us. We stood our ground, ready to fight, no matter what Farius had planned for us. I'm pressed against a tree, heart racing as Farius's soldiers march through the forest. Their armor clinks in the quiet every step, feels like a threat closing in. Ace has already drawn his bow, he's ready to fight, no matter the odds. I clamp my hand on his bow. We can't take them all, not yet. We hold our breath, waiting for the danger to pass. Ren sniffs the air, his wolf senses picking up their trail. They're heading west, so we need to go the opposite way. Nate grips his dagger, already ready to move out. The hollow forest is east, our only chance to stay hidden. We slip into the darkness, moving as quiet as shadows ourselves. Suddenly, a voice echoes in my head, familiar and warning. It's the white fox spirit, and it's not here to help. It says the hollow forest is cursed, more dangerous than we know. And worse, Farius is closer than we thought he was. We freeze, every sound in the forest suddenly deafeningly loud. Ace raises his bow again, scanning the trees for any sign of danger. Ren's wolf ears twitch, he hears something we can't. Nate moves closer to me, his body ready to shield me from harm. Through the fog, I see the hollow forest, our only path forward. We have no choice but to go on into the cursed unknown. We finally reach the hollow forest. But this place feels so wrong. No trees, no grass, only cracked dirt and thick, choking fog stretching endlessly. Even my loyal companion refuses to step into this cursed place. Then a low guttural growl rumbled from the fog ahead. We knew danger was near. We tensed up instantly, our weapons raised and senses on high alert. Ace's bow was drawn tight, his knuckles white with tension. Ren's fists were clenched, his wolf senses screaming danger. Then they emerged two massive, familiar shapes, stepping out of the fog. My blood ran cold. These were the same monsters we fought before. They circled us, trapping us between them with no way out. Nate tensed his body, his vampire speed ready to strike at any moment. We were completely surrounded, trapped in this desolate hell. Even Custard bared his claws, scared but ready to fight. The monster's claws glinted in the fog, each swipe able to crush us instantly. I felt magic surge in my veins. My powers would be our only chance. We locked eyes, silently agreeing to fight side by side until the end. The monsters roared, shaking the fog around us. The fight was about to begin. I raised my hands, ready to unleash every bit of magic I had. Ace released the arrow, striking first to gain an advantage. But the monster dodged easily, showing how tough this fight would be. Ren shifted into his wolf form, ready to tear into the monsters. Nate darted between the monsters, slashing at their legs with his dagger. The monsters struck back, their massive claws swinging toward us with deadly force. I unleashed my magic, blue light exploding to push the monsters back. Custard transformed into his giant white wolf form, ready to fight alongside us. Two giant beasts charged at us, their roars shaking the foggy air around us. We were trapped, surrounded by the massive creatures with nowhere to run. Ace fired arrow after arrow, but they bounced off the monsters' thick hides like pebbles. Our attacks were useless. Nothing seemed to hurt these beasts. Ren shifted into his wolf form and lunged, but the beast swatted him away like a fly. He went flying, hitting the ground with a painful yelp. Nate darted out of the way, but the beast's claw grazed his side, sending him stumbling. We were losing, and I felt a surge of panic rising in my chest. Then something shifted inside me, a warm, blue magic welled up in my hands. The light spread out, wrapping around the beasts like a glowing net. To my shock, the monsters froze mid-charge, their bodies rigid as stone. But their red eyes flared to life again. They weren't defeated yet. They roared, shattering the magic holding them, and charged once more. The ground shook as they barreled toward us, more furious than ever. I clenched my glowing hands, ready to fight back with this new power. Ace knocked another arrow, his face set in a grim line. Ren shifted back to human form, blood on his lip, but ready to fight. Nate got to his feet, his dagger glinting in the faint light. We stood together, a ragged but determined line against the beasts. The beasts were almost on us. This was make or break. With a desperate yell, I called forth the blue spirits from my glowing hands. The spirits burst out, swirling around me like a blue storm ready to strike. First monster got wrapped tight. I could feel its struggle fade instantly. It turned to dust before my eyes. One down, but more were coming. Ace, Ren, and Nate stared, shocked by the magic I'd unleashed. Ace's usually stoic face was wide with disbelief. He'd never seen magic like this. Ren's wolf-like features tensed. Even he could feel the power in those spirits. Nate's playful grin was gone. He knew we were in for something big. But I didn't stop to celebrate. My eyes locked on something in the fog. There it was, the wooden chalice we'd been searching for this whole time. But a low voice from behind made my blood run cold. I knew that voice too well. King Farius stepped forward, his cursed arm glowing with dark power. He'd been waiting. His cursed arm pulsed with darkness stronger than I'd ever seen it before. I gripped my hook swords tight, ready to fight for the chalice and our lives. Ace, Ren, and Nate joined me, their own weapons ready. We wouldn't let him take it. The chalice's white light clashed with his dark magic. The air crackled with tension. My spirits circled him, ready to strike at my command. This was our last stand. I wouldn't let him win, not after everything we'd been through. We stared each other down, knowing this fight would decide everything. Farius laughed, a cold, cruel sound. "You think you can stop me?" he sneered. My spirits flared brighter, ready to attack at my signal. The final battle was about to begin. The chalice pulsed in response, as if it was ready to fight alongside us. I thought I'd escape this nightmare, but Farius is back, and he's determined to take my blood. He claims my blood can break his curse, and this chalice will make him ruler of every world. I won't let him take it. This chalice is our only hope to stop his reign of terror. He's closing in, his magic burning the air around us. I can feel my powers straining to keep up. We stand together, ready to fight, but I can already feel the odds are stacked against us. He raises his arm, a ball of pure black magic forming in his palm. This is going to be worse than I thought. I channel every last drop of my magic, my hands glowing blue as I try to shield us from the blast. Ace draws his bow, Ren tenses for a charge, Nate readies his dagger. We won't fall without a fight. The black magic bursts forward, a wave of darkness that hits us like a freight train. I can't hold on. I'm thrown backward, the air knocked out of me, my body slamming into the hard stone. The princes go down too, their weapons clattering to the ground as the shockwave passes. My magic is gone. I can feel it draining away, leaving me weak and helpless on the ground. Farius laughs, stepping over us like we're nothing, moving straight for the wooden chalice. His hand reaches for the chalice. If he takes it, there's no stopping his reign of terror. I push myself up, my muscles screaming, but I can barely lift my head. I won't let him win that easily. Ace reaches for his bow. Ren pushes himself to his feet. They're not giving up either. He grabs the chalice, and it starts to glow with his dark magic. This is it, we've lost. He holds the chalice aloft, dark magic spreading across the courtyard, and I think this is the end. Wait, something's happening. I feel a new surge of power, like I'm not alone in this fight. The blue spirit woman, she's here, helping me. Maybe we can still turn this impossible fight around? I thought all was lost, as Farius's cursed hand closed in on our only hope. Then, out of nowhere, the white fox spirit struck, sinking its teeth into his hand. Farius howled in agony, flinging the fox across the courtyard like a rag doll. That was my chance. Magic surged back into my veins, brighter than ever before. I summoned every spirit I could, wrapping them tight around his cursed arm. Ace didn't waste a second. His arrow flew straight for Farius's unarmored leg. Ren shifted into wolf form, lunging for his injured leg with razor-sharp teeth. Nate darted in, slashing his dagger across Farius's already wounded arm. Between the spirits and the prince's attacks, Farius began to stagger, finally weakening. Then, with a final roar, he collapsed to the ground, his dark magic fading fast. I turned to the fox. It was hurt badly, its glowing eyes dimming. I rushed to its side, guilt and gratitude warring in my heart. It looked up at me, and in its eyes, I saw not anger, but thanks. The princes joined us, watching Farius to make sure he couldn't rise again. Farius's cursed arm started to shrink, the dark magic finally leaving his body. I picked up the injured fox, scanning the castle walls for any other threats. The courtyard was a battlefield, but for now we had won. Or so we thought. But a flicker in the trees caught my eye. Something dark was still out there, watching us. I gripped the chalice tighter, feeling its magic surge back, ready for whatever came next. Then the fox began to glow. I realized what it was about to do, and my heart dropped. It sacrificed itself, its magic merging with the chalice to make it stronger than ever. I thought we had him, but Farius's eyes blazed red, breaking free of the spirit's hold. The blue spirits couldn't contain him. His black magic exploded through the courtyard. My magic flickered and died, strength draining out of me like water. Then the white fox spirit darted to my side, a desperate plan in its glowing eyes. It told me the only way to stop him my blood, dripping into the wooden chalice. I gripped my hook sword, slicing my palm without hesitation to give what was needed. Blood dripped into the chalice, each drop glowing with my unique tamer magic. The chalice erupted with blinding white light, pushing back the dark magic entirely. Farius screamed in agony, his cursed arm shriveled, his dark power draining away fast. He stumbled back, his giant frame shrinking, as his evil curse unraveled completely. I watched him flee, relief crashing over me. We'd won this round, at least. The blue spirit woman floated down, her form fading as she acknowledged our victory. The fox nuzzled my hand, its blue eyes softening after the fierce battle. The chalice glowed faintly now, cracked but still thrumming with purified magic. Then the princes ran to me, relief and worry mixing in their expressions. Ace grabbed my arm, his sharp elven eyes scanning my bleeding palm with concern. Ren's wolf ears twitched, his fierce gaze softening when he saw I was truly okay. Nate joked about my reckless plan, but his hands were gentle as he helped me steady. As dawn broke, we knew this wasn't the end, but we were ready for whatever came next. But a shadow moved in the distant forest. Something new, something worse, was already coming for us. Farius got away, and I was left bleeding, barely able to move. All three princes rushed to me, their faces twisted with worry. The white fox spirit was fading, its light dimming with each breath. It spoke through our link, the words hitting me like a punch. The chalice's magic woke, opening a portal to my old home. I stared at the portal, hearing my mom's voice calling me home. The princes watched me, their eyes begging me not to leave. Then Nate grabbed my hand, his touch warm and desperate. Ren's hand wrapped around my wrist too, silent but firm. Ace stood back, his bow clenched so tight his knuckles whitened. I could see my mom and sister, waiting for me on the other side. The fox spirit vanished, its final words echoing in my head. I held the chalice, torn between two worlds that both felt like home. The portal glowed brighter, pulling me toward everything I'd missed. The cursed forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting for my choice. Ace's eyes glistened, but he refused to look away, stubborn to the end. Ren's wolf ears peeked through his hair, his gaze raw with need. I could hear my mom and sister, their voices growing louder. They formed a circle around me, not letting me slip away. I cried, torn between the family I loved and the friends who saved me. The chalice flickered, half warm with home, half cool with adventure. I couldn't choose. How was I supposed to pick between two homes? I'm torn between returning home and staying with the friends who've become family. Nate's grip anchors me, while Ace's tense hands betray his true feelings. The portal glows brighter, pressing me to choose before it vanishes forever. Ren grins and waves, telling me to go back to my waiting family. I stare at both sides, my heart pulled in two impossible directions. Ace pretends not to care, but his white-knuckled grip tells the real story. Nate squeezes my hand, promising he'll stand with me no matter what I choose. A voice echoes in my head, rushing me to pick before time runs out. It's the spirit woman. She's urging me to make my choice now. Ren's grin drops. He yells a warning that freezes me in place. Farius is back, and he's brought an army far larger than before. Their dark armor glows with cursed magic. They're here to destroy everything. We're surrounded, and my choice suddenly becomes far simpler. Fight or die. I grip my swords tight, no more hesitation. I have to protect both worlds. The princes rally beside me. We're a team, ready to fight together. Ace draws his bow, ready to pick off the first wave of attackers. Ren shifts into his battle form, ready to tear through the enemy lines. The army charges, we stand our ground, ready to defend what we love. I won't let Farius destroy either of the worlds I call home. The battle begins. Our fates are now tied together, and we won't lose. Farius' soldiers flooded the courtyard. Our last stand was about to begin. I grabbed the cracked chalice, ready to shatter it if I had to. Farius laughed. He knew it was my only way back home. I dropped the chalice and drew my hook swords home. Could wait. The princes drew their weapons. We were going to fight as one. We charged forward, ready to take down every soldier in our way. I called upon spirits to aid us. Magic surged through my veins. Blue spirits rose from the ground, ready to fight alongside us. Farius raised his arm. Dark magic began to gather around his fist. A blast of dark magic shot out, hitting the spirits dead on. They dissolved into dust before my eyes. Our magic didn't stand a chance. I froze in shock. Our last hope had been destroyed. The soldiers closed in, surrounding us on all sides. Ace pulled his bow tight, ready to take down anyone who came near. Ren's claws extended, his wolf side was ready to fight. Nate gripped his dagger, ready to strike at any opening. But I refused to give up, we still had fight left in us. Farius watched from above, a cruel smile on his face. Then Custard appeared, even my wolf wasn't ready to surrender. Together, we prepared for our final fight, no matter the cost. We were surrounded by Farius' soldiers, trapped with no way out. I thought we'd meet our end, right there in that dark forest. Then the blue light exploded from the trees, our unexpected saviors. The spirits surged forward, crashing into Farius' men. Chaos erupted, swords clashed against glowing spirit forms. Then, she appeared, the blue spirit woman, leading her kind. With a single gesture, she turned the tide of the battle. The spirits rallied, driving Farius' soldiers back in disarray. I knew what I had to do, my blood was the key. I sliced my palm, letting my blood fall into the broken chalice. The chalice blazed with white light, brighter than any magic I'd ever seen. Farius screamed as his cursed arm began to shrivel and shrink. His power drained away, his roar fading to a whimper. He collapsed to the ground, unconscious and powerless. His soldiers dropped their weapons, fleeing into the dark woods. We'd won for now, at least. The princes joined me, relief written on their faces. The spirit woman smiled, fading away as her work was done. The chalice dimmed, but I knew our journey was far from over. Custard trotted to my side, reminding me I wasn't alone. We had a new path ahead, and we'd face it together. The blue spirit woman smiled and faded, saying the portal would stay open one more day. I sat by the portal, Custard's warm weight on my lap, my heart torn between two worlds. Through the portal, I saw my mom and sister, their voices calling me back to my old life. But when I turned to the princes, I saw how far we'd come, how much they meant to me. I had two homes calling me, but only one heart to follow. Custard nuzzled my hand, as if he already knew what I'd choose. I pushed myself to my feet, brushing dirt from my tunic, my decision finally made. Ace's grip tightened on his sword, but a faint smile tugged at his lips. Ren grinned and waved, Nate holding out a hand, both radiating quiet relief. I took the first step toward them, leaving the portal and my old life behind. Custard trotted beside me, as if he'd known my choice all along. Behind me, the portal flickered, its warm glow dimming faster than I expected. I turned, surprised, but I didn't stop walking. My choice was already made. The portal vanished with a flash, leaving only a faint glow on the cracked dirt. My wooden chalice slipped from my pack, hitting the ground with a sharp crack. Cracks spiderwebbed across its surface, and it split into two pieces before my eyes. I knelt to pick it up, confused but determined. This wasn't the end of our journey. Ace stepped over, offering a cloth, his usual cold facade softening a little. Ren clapped my back, Nate grinning and saying we'd fix it together, no matter what. We walked out of the hollow forest together, the sun breaking through the fog. Our real journey was just beginning. Custard looked up at me, his eyes full of trust, like he knew we'd face anything together. The princes relaxed, Ace adjusting his sword, Ren stretching, Nate humming. For the first time, I felt truly home. I lifted the cracked chalice, my hands still shaking from the battle. Ace told me his elven blacksmiths could repair the chalice's magic. Ren clapped my back, grinning he'd train me to master spirit magic. Nate winked, promising to keep me out of unnecessary trouble. As we walked out of the hollow forest, sunlight finally broke through the fog. I felt a surge of magic in my veins, stronger than any I'd felt before. My hands glowed bright blue, matching the magic from the chalice. Custard trotted beside me, his nose twitching like he could sense the magic too. Then the white fox's voice echoed in my head. The chalice held a secret. It said the chalice's true power was far greater than we ever knew. We kept walking, the fog thinning more with each step forward. I glanced down, spotting faint glowing lines along the chalice's cracks. Ace stayed alert, his hand never far from his dual bow sword. Ren sniffed the air, his grin fading. He sensed something wrong. Nate half drew his dagger, ready for whatever might come next. Finally, the fog cleared, and we could see the open path ahead of us. As I tightened my grip, the chalice glowed brighter, matching my magic. Custard nuzzled my leg, as if reassuring me we'd uncover the truth. I looked up at the sky, determined to unlock the chalice's hidden secret. We set off, the chalice's glow guiding us toward whatever lay ahead. After fighting through the cursed forest, we finally stepped into the sunlight, exhausted but alive. The villagers rushed over, cheering and waving, relieved we'd survived the forest's horrors. Ren let out a low growl and shifted back to his human form, scratching his messy hair. Nate snickered, nudging Ace and teasing him about his messy, wind-tousled hair. Ace glowered at Nate, but a small, amused smile tugged at the corner of his lips. I laughed with them, but then a chill ran down my spine. Something was watching us from the forest. Through the tree trunks, I saw it glowing red eyes, fixed on us, full of malice. My smile faded, and I grabbed my wooden hook swords, my muscles tensing for fight. The others noticed my tension and turned, their own smiles dropping as they saw the eyes. The villagers fell silent, their cheers dying as they realized the danger wasn't over. Ace reached for his dual bow sword, his face hardening into a battle scowl. Ren's eyes flashed amber, and he shifted into a half-wolf stance, ready for action. Nate pulled his dagger from his belt, his grin sharp and ready for action. I tightened my grip on my hook swords, my eyes never leaving those glowing red eyes in the trees. A cold wind swept through the forest, rustling leaves and making the shadows shift strangely. The shadow moved, larger than I thought. Farius, the king we'd fought before, was watching us. I remembered his cursed arm, his brutal attacks. We weren't ready to face him again. Not yet. The red eyes glowed brighter, and a low growl echoed from the forest. He was taunting us. We formed a loose circle, our backs to the villages, ready to defend them if he attacked. The villagers huddled together, their faces white with fear, as the growl grew louder. Ace notched an arrow in his bow, his aim steady on the shadow in the trees. Ren's claws extended, his teeth bared, ready to charge into the forest at any moment. Nate's speed kicked in, his body tensed, ready to dart into the shadows if needed. But Custard nudged my leg, his small body warming, giving me a flicker of courage. The shadow retreated, the red eyes fading into the dark. Farius was gone, for now. We let out a collective breath, our muscles relaxing, but we didn't lower our weapons. The villagers cheered again, quieter this time, relief mixing with lingering fear. But I kept my eyes on the forest. Farius would be back, and next time, we'd be ready. After all we've survived, you'd think we could catch a break. No such luck. We're holed up in a village tavern, each of us coping in our own way. Nate, ever the charmer, is flirting like we don't have a war to win. But Ren's not here to play. He's already pointing out our next target, Farius' castle. Ace is quiet, studying the map. We need a plan, and we need it fast. Farius is recovering from our last fight. We have to strike before he regains full power. Ace finally speaks. We can't take that castle alone. We need allies. The Elven clans, the Wolf Packs, and the Vampire Covens. We need all three on our side. My hands shake as I listen, but I know he's right. We have no other choice. The mood shifts fast. Flirting's over now. We're planning a war. Ren's already ready to move. He's tired of waiting for Farius to come to us. Even Nate sobers up fast. He knows what's at stake here. I look at my friends, at the path ahead, and I make my choice. I'm in. Just as we settle on the plan, the door slams open. Trouble's here. A villager bursts in, panic in his voice. Farius' soldiers are approaching. We don't waste a second. Grabbing our weapons, we prepare to fight. Ace is already drawing his bow, his face set in a grim line. He's not holding back this time. Ren is first through the door, ready to meet whatever's waiting outside. Nate and I follow close behind, ready to stand with our friends, no matter what comes. Whatever happens next, we face it together. This is just the beginning. We stand together at the door, ready to face Farius' forces. No one's backing down. In the distance, we see the glow of torches. Farius' soldiers are closer than we thought. The tavern's joy shattered when a villager burst in, screaming of soldiers. Before I could react, soldiers flooded through the doors, swords glinting. Ace didn't hesitate. His arrows took down 2 soldiers in seconds. Ren shifted into his wolf form, ready to tear through our enemies. Nate darted between soldiers, his dagger slicing through their defenses. I drew my wooden hook swords, ready to fight for our survival. I fought off soldiers left and right, but their numbers kept growing. A soldier's shield blocked my strike. He was stronger than I expected. Nate got swiped by a sword, but he didn't slow down for a second. Ren latched onto a soldier's leg, tearing through his armor with his jaws. Ace kept firing, his aim never wavering as more soldiers arrived. More soldiers poured in. We were starting to get overwhelmed. A soldier slammed his elbow into my arm, sending me stumbling back. I regained my balance, ready to keep fighting, despite the pain. The tavern turned into a battlefield, tables crashing all around us. I didn't see the soldier creeping up behind me until it was too late. He grabbed my arms, pinning them behind my back before I could react. A cold knife pressed against my throat, freezing me completely still. Ace froze, his arrow halfway to release, unable to risk my life. Ren stopped mid-attack, growling but unwilling to endanger me. Nate dropped his dagger, his hands raised in reluctant surrender. Ace lowered his bow, his face twisted with frustration. I stared at our enemies, helpless but determined to escape. They pushed me toward the door, threatening to kill me if anyone moved. We were herded out of the tavern, our freedom stolen for now. 1 second I'm fighting, the next I'm dragged like a prisoner. No one saw this coming. But I'm not alone. My princes are watching, waiting for their chance to strike. Custer's growling low. He's ready to tear anyone apart who hurts me. I clutch the cracked chalice in my pocket. It glows soft white, a promise of hope. The carriage rumbles toward Farius' castle. This is only the beginning of my prison. The chalice's light grows brighter. My friends can feel it. I know they can. I won't break. Not in this cage. Not against that monster Farius. Ace has his bow drawn. Ren's nose twitches. Nate's ready to strike. They're coming for me. The castle gates creak open. This dark fortress is where I'll either break or rise. The courtyard's empty, but I can feel dark magic clinging to every stone here. They yank me out, and that's when I see it. Something I never expected. The blue spirit woman, she's trapped, her light fading fast, and I know why. Farius did this? I'll make him pay for every second she's suffered. They drag me toward the castle, but I don't look away. She's counting on me too. The chalice glows brighter in my pocket. Its magic is calling to hers. I can feel it. The door slams shut behind me, but I know this isn't the end. Not even close. I won't let her down. I won't let any of my friends down. Outside, my princes are planning. They're not just here to save me. They're here to win. Farius' dark magic oozes from the walls. He's growing stronger, and time's running out. But my light is still burning, and soon, it'll burn brighter than his dark magic ever could. The chalice's cracks glow white. Something's changing, something powerful. The cell door locks with a clang, but I'm not scared. I'm just getting started. Alone in the dark, but I'm never really alone. My light won't let me be. I stared in horror. Farius held a black crystal, draining the blue spirit's power right before my eyes. The spirit's glow dimmed fast, her form flickering like a dying candle flame. Rage burned through me. How dare he steal her magic to grow stronger? I drew my wooden hook swords, my grip tight enough to splinter the wood. Ace hid behind the stone pillar, bow drawn and ready to strike at any second. Ren stayed hidden in the shadows, his wolf senses picking up every sound. Nate gripped his dagger, ready to strike the second we had an opening. His cursed arm glowed with dark magic, growing stronger by the moment. The black crystal pulsed with stolen magic, a sickening blue glow trapped inside. "Let her go, Farius!" I shouted, my voice echoing through the courtyard. We were all in position, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The spirit was fading fast, her form barely holding together. Ace's fingers tensed on the bowstring, his aim steady and true. Ren's wolf ears twitched, picking up sounds the rest of us couldn't hear. Nate's dagger caught the light, a faint glint in the dark shadows. Farius laughed, a deep, evil sound that made my blood run cold. My hook swords were scarred from battle, ready to strike down this monster. The stone pillars around us were covered in ancient runes, pulsing with faint magic. The spirit's light was almost gone. We had to act now, or we'd lose her forever. We shared a silent look. The moment to fight was finally here. Farius finally noticed us, his surprise turning to rage in an instant. I stepped in front of the spirit, my swords raised, to protect what was left of her. Ace's bow was drawn to its limit, the arrow aimed right at Farius's cursed arm. Ren leaned forward, ready to shift into wolf form and attack. Nate stepped out of the shadows, his dagger glinting in the faint light, ready to strike. I thought my end was here, as Farius stalked toward me, his cursed arm glowing dark. But Ace had other plans, his bow drawn and ready to strike the draining crystal. The arrow sliced through the air, aimed straight for the black crystal. It shattered on impact, releasing the blue spirit's trapped magic. Her power surged, and she broke free from her cage, ready to fight. I summoned my own spirits, sending them to attack Farius with all our might. Ren shifted into his wolf form, lunging at Farius's legs with ferocity. Nate slashed with his dagger, while Ace fired arrow after arrow at our foe. Farius howled in agony, his cursed arm starting to shrink as his power faded. He collapsed to the ground, his dark magic finally gone for good, or so we thought. The spirit woman smiled at me, her form starting to fade away into light. She told me the chalice's missing piece was hidden deep in the elven forest. I looked at my broken chalice, seeing the glowing gap where the piece should be. Ace assured me his elven blacksmiths could repair the chalice's magic. Ren patted my back, eager to train me to use my spirit magic properly. Nate winked, promising to keep me out of unnecessary trouble. We prepared to leave the castle, ready for our quest to the elven forest. But as we walked, the broken chalice glowed white, its magic still strong despite the cracks. The white fox spirit's voice echoed in my head, hinting at a hidden secret. We emerged from the forest, the sun breaking through the fog as villagers cheered our return. But I felt eyes on me. Farius was watching, biding his time to strike again. We headed to the village, ready to rest and plan our next move. In the village tavern, we plotted our journey to find the chalice piece in the elven forest. We finally locked Farius away, but our troubles are far from over. For now, the tyrant's trapped deep in the castle dungeons. Ace was already thinking ahead. He knew our chalice wasn't fixed yet. He told us elven blacksmith could repair our broken wooden chalice. Ren clapped my back, trying to lift our spirits after the fight. Nate couldn't resist teasing Ace about his near miss with the crystal. We set out for the elven forest, hope burning in our chests. Then the white fox's voice echoed in my head, a chilling warning. She said the chalice shard was guarded by a giant elven dragon. The princess went pale. None of us expected a dragon. Custard growled, sensing the dragon's power deep in the forest. The elven forest loomed ahead, quiet but full of hidden dangers. Ace readied his bow, his elf senses on high alert. Ren flexed his knuckles, ready to shift into wolf form at any moment. Nate kept his dagger close, his vampire speed ready to strike. I placed a hand on Custard, trying to steady my racing heart. We took our first steps into the forest, knowing this fight would be our hardest yet. As shadow moved in the trees, the dragon was watching us already. My broken chalice glowed faintly, reacting to the dragon's magic. We froze, staring into the darkness, waiting for the dragon to strike. Behind us, the castle dungeon lock clicked shut, a temporary victory. But Ace's face told me this was only the beginning of our journey. Nate's teasing broke the tension, but we all knew what lay ahead. A thin mist curled through the trees, hiding the dragon's lair from view. I took a deep breath, ready to face whatever waited for us in the forest. We finally reached the elven forest's edge, but something felt horribly wrong. Custard refused to take another step, his tail tucked tight in pure fear. I'd never seen my wolf familiar this terrified. What horrors lurked inside? A low, rumbling growl shook the air, deep, primal, and impossible to ignore. Then it emerged, a colossal elven dragon with emerald scales blocking out the sun. Ace didn't hesitate. He drew his bow, arrow aimed straight for the dragon's eye. Ren's muscles tensed, his wolf traits surfacing as he prepared to shift. I gripped my hook swords tighter. Our goal was a chalice fragment in its lair. "I'll draw it away," Ren yelled. "Rose, you grab the fragment." Ren shifted into his giant wolf form and charged straight at the dragon. Ace fired his arrow, and as the dragon roared, we bolted for its lair. Nate's vampire speed kicked in. He raced ahead to clear our path. Custard finally followed, his fear forgotten as he stayed close to my side. The dragon's lair loomed ahead, a dark cave mouth reeking of smoke and magic. There it was, the chalice fragment, glowing softly on a stone altar inside. But the dragon cut us off. Its roar shook the ground as it blocked the entrance. Ace fired another arrow, drawing the dragon's attention so I could find the way in. I spotted a narrow crevice in the cave wall, my chance to slip inside. I squeezed through the crevice, Custard right behind me, leaving Ace and Nate to hold the dragon off. I reached the altar, my hand hovering over the glowing fragment. We were so close. The moment my fingers touched it, the fragment blazed with bright white light. But the dragon had broken through its eyes, filled with rage as it locked onto me. I sprinted toward the dragon's lair, my throat dry with fear and hope. The air reeked of smoke and magic, and there it was, the chalice fragment. My breath caught. That fragment was the only thing that could fix our world. I stretched out my hand, ready to grab the last piece we needed. A low growl froze me in place. I'd walked right into a dragon's trap. I squeezed my eyes shut, waiting for the bite that would end everything. I thought this was it, my last mistake in this crazy world. But nothing happened. Instead, I heard a soft rumble from the dragon's chest. It nudged the fragment toward me. Was this some kind of trick? I stared at it, too scared to move. Why would a dragon help a tamer like me? I finally grabbed it, my fingers wrapping around the warm wood. It felt right. A voice filled my mind, deep and rumbling. You are the tamer who will use this for good. You won't crave power or conquest. That's why I trust you with it. 2. The dragon turned toward the entrance, its tail sweeping across the stone floor. It burst into the sunlight, heading straight for the sounds of battle outside. I heard the prince's shouts and the clashing of weapons. They needed help. I ran as fast as I could, the fragment clutched tightly in my grasp. Outside, the battle raged. The dragon dove into the fray, roaring at the dark creatures. I charged toward them, the fragment glowing brightly in my hand. We had the last piece. Now we could finally fix the chalice and save our world. But as I ran, I noticed something wrong. More dark creatures were emerging from the trees. The fragment grew warmer, reacting to the dark magic around us. It was calling for something. A portal opened in the sky, pouring out more monsters. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. My heart sank. We thought we had a chance, but we were outnumbered. But I held the fragment tighter. We still had a fight left in us. We couldn't give up now. We just stepped out of the elven forest, thinking the worst was over. Battered and bruised, we'd survived the dragon, but we weren't safe yet. I clutched the chalice fragment tight, hoping it could fix our broken hope. When the fragment touched the chalice's crack, something incredible happened. A brilliant white light burst from the chalice, flooding the forest with raw magic. A portal ripped open in the light, showing Farius's castle courtyard beyond. Nate was the first to shout, Farius must have escaped here. We didn't hesitate, we sprinted through the portal without a second thought. As we stepped into Farius's castle, an eerie silence settled over us. The dungeon door was shattered, and guards lay unconscious all around it. I checked the guard's pulse, he was just unconscious, not dead. The castle was in chaos, clear signs of Farius's violent escape everywhere. Ace knelt, examining the tracks. Farius's power is stronger than before. Ren sniffed the air, growling softly. He didn't leave long ago. Just then, the chalice in my hand began to glow and float on its own. Its light grew brighter and brighter, until the whole courtyard was bathed in it. A voice echoed from the chalice, cold and ancient. My friends tensed, all their eyes fixed on the glowing chalice. It said, to fully restore its magic, I must sacrifice something I cherish most. I hesitated for a second, then reached out to the chalice. I had no choice. The moment my finger touched it, I felt a surge of power and a sharp loss. The chalice's cracks vanished, fully restored, but I felt empty inside. Ace looked at me, his eyes soft with understanding. He knew what I'd lost. Ren clapped my shoulder, and Nate nodded. We were in this together, no matter what. Outside the castle, dark clouds rolled in, lightning flashing. Something big was coming. I held the fully restored wooden chalice, feeling its magic thrumming in my palms. But a portal flickered to life, showing Farius laying waste to villages. The chalice spoke. Cold and unyielding as sacrifice was required. 3 choices hung over me: my magic, my friends, or my own life. I stared at each option, my chest tight with fear and grief. My friends had fought beside me through everything. I couldn't lose them. My magic had saved us so many times. But what was it compared to them? I knew what I had to do. My magic was the only choice. I sacrificed my tamer magic, I whispered, my voice steady despite my fear. The blue glow faded from my hands, leaving them cold and ordinary. I wiggled my fingers, half expecting the magic to rush back. It didn't. Custard nuzzled my hand, his whimper quiet, but full of worry. As my magic faded, the chalice blazed brighter than ever, its magic amplified. The portal's images dimmed, the sacrifice was working, but at what cost? I felt empty without my magic. But I also felt alive, knowing my friends were safe. I turned toward the castle gates, ready to face whatever came next, magic or no magic. Custard trotted beside me, and together, we stepped into the unknown. The portal vanished, but I knew this wasn't the end of our fight. My hands felt strange, normal. But I knew I'd made the right choice. A distant roar echoed. Farius wasn't defeated yet, and I was ready to fight anyway. We stepped into the sunlight, ready to face whatever darkness came our way. Magic's gone, but my resolve? It's sharper than my hook swords. Look at them, my family. Ace with his bow, Ren as the wolf he was born to be. Farius's soldiers marched closer, hundreds of them, hungry for blood. I take the first step. No magic, no tricks, just us against the world. We don't need magic to fight. We need each other. That's enough. Ace's aim's never been truer. He'll take down the first line before they blink. Ren's ready to tear through their ranks. This is where he belongs. Nate's speed will be our secret weapon. He'll strike before they know he's there. Custard's roar shakes the ground. Even soldiers will hesitate at that sight. I lock eyes with them. No words needed. They know what we have to do. I grip my swords tighter. This is for us. For every moment we've fought together. I charge first, they follow. This is what family does. The battlefield waits. No magic, no shortcuts, just blood, sweat, and us. Ace's arrow flies true. First soldier down. The fight is on. Ren's into the fray, tearing through their lines like they're paper. Nate's everywhere at once. He's a blur of red hair and steel. Custard takes down 3 at once. No one stands against that wolf. I swing my swords, and the soldier falls. This is what I was made for with them. We're winning. Not with magic, but with heart. That's the real power. I smile. Magic never gave us this. This is us, unstoppable. Ace doesn't stop. One after another, soldiers fall to his aim. Ren's a force of nature. No soldier can stand in his way. Nate's dagger's stained, but his resolve? It's unbroken. Custard's roar echoes. We're not just fighting, we're winning. We stand back to back. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. We're surrounded by Farius' soldiers, and my magic's gone. We're doomed. Ace, Ren, Nate fight beside me, but more soldiers keep pouring in. Farius stands behind them, his cursed arm glowing with dark magic. A wave of black magic blasts toward us. This is the end. The magic hits hard, sending us flying. I collapse, magic drained. Wait, my hand's glowing blue. It can't be. The warmth spreads through my veins. My magic's coming back. A voice echoes. You sacrificed for friends. The true sacrifice strengthens magic. I stand, power surging through me, stronger than ever before. I yell, summoning blue spirits to fight with us. The spirits wrap around the soldiers, turning them to dust. Ace grins, firing arrows to support the spirits. Ren shifts to wolf form, tearing through the remaining soldiers. Nate darts through the fray, slashing with his dagger. Farius roars, enraged that his soldiers are falling. He raises his arm, gathering even darker magic to attack. I raise my hands, rallying the spirits for a final strike. We charge together spirits, wolves, vampires, and me. Farius staggers back, overwhelmed by our combined power. Farius flees, realizing he can't win this fight. We stand together, bloodied but victorious. We won this round. But I know this isn't over. Farius will be back. The spirits wrapped around Farius, and I thought we had him beat this time. Ace, Ren, and Nate didn't waste a second they struck while he was trapped. Ace's arrow found its mark, and Farius roared in pain. Ren lunged at him, claws ready to tear through his defenses. Nate darted in from the side, his dagger slicing through the chaos. Farius howled in agony and crashed to the ground, his strength fading fast. I watched in shock as his cursed arm shriveled, the dark magic draining away. The portal behind us closed, and I thought the nightmare was over. The magical chalice fell to the ground, just a plain wooden cup now. But then, I saw it, his finger twitched. We spoke too soon. Farius surged to his feet, a terrifying grin spreading across his face. His cursed arm blazed with dark magic again, stronger than before. A wave of black magic exploded outward, knocking us all off our feet. I went flying, hitting the ground hard as my magic faded away. Farius walked toward the chalice, his eyes glowing with triumph. He grabbed the chalice, and I knew we were in even bigger trouble now. We lay there helpless, watching our victory slip through our fingers. I reached for my hook swords, desperate to get back in the fight. But Farius' magic only grew stronger, and I felt hope slipping away. Just when I thought it was over, I saw a shadow moving in the trees. Something worse was coming. I lay bleeding on the ground. Sure, my story was about to end. Then I saw him, Furious, the chalice in his grasp, black magic coiling like a snake. Just when all hope faded, a blue glow cut through the dark. The spirit woman struck, her magic tearing through his defenses. Farius screamed, dropping the chalice as pain racked his body. The wooden chalice clattered to the ground, its magic still thrumming faintly. I stretched out my hand, every muscle burning, desperate to reach it. My fingers wrapped around it, and a surge of magic rushed through me. The spirit woman spoke, her voice soft but firm in my mind. Your magic will return when you need it most, she said, fading away. Ace and Ren stood guard, their eyes fixed on our fallen enemy. Nate stepped forward, checking Farius' neck for a pulse. His eyes were closed, his body limp, truly unconscious at last. Using the chalice for support, I pushed myself back to my feet. A faint blue glow pulsed from my hands, proof the magic was still there. We all stood over him, finally sure the fight was won. Then I heard paws patting over Custard, alive and unharmed. He licked my wounded hand, his eyes full of worry and relief. Ace lowered his bow, the first sign of softness I'd seen in hours. We turned to leave, the sun breaking through the clouds at last. The castle doors closed behind us, sealing Farius' fate for good. We walked together, battered but alive, toward whatever came next. I thought we'd finally won. The village was alive with celebration after taking down Farius. We were just letting our guards down, enjoying the quiet we'd fought so hard for. Then Nate had to go flirting with a village girl, typical him, always chasing fun. I caught Ace staring at me, a tiny smile playing on his usually cold face. Ren clapped my back, grinning like we hadn't just survived a war. He was laying on the charm thick, making the poor girl giggle like crazy. But I could see his fingers tightening around his bow. He never truly relaxes. Ren's wolf instincts still made him alert, even when we were supposed to be safe. The village was truly happy. They thought the worst was over for good. Then someone screamed. I turned and saw smoke billowing from the forest. The forest is burning, they yelled. My blood ran cold instantly. That wasn't normal fire. I knew those shadows anywhere. Shadow monsters burst from the trees, their forms shifting and snarling as they ran. Panic erupted. Villagers ran, screaming, as the monsters closed in fast. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed my wooden hook swords, ready to fight again. Ace already had his bow drawn, arrows knocked, and aimed for the first monster. Ren shifted into his wolf form, his growl echoing through the panicking square. Nate's daggers were in his hands, his vampire speed making him blur slightly. We formed a line, ready to protect the village from this new, unexpected threat. The monsters kept coming, their forms more twisted than any we'd faced before. We thought we'd won, but it seems the darkness wasn't done with us yet. I watched Ace fire his arrow. It phased right through the monster like it wasn't even there. Ren shifted to wolf form and lunged. His bite went straight through too. This was impossible. Nate dodged its swipe with vampire speed, but even he couldn't land a hit. What was this thing? I summoned my spirit allies. They passed through the monster too. My blood ran cold. It hit me this was a shadow creature. Physical attacks couldn't hurt it at all. I grabbed my only hope, the cracked wooden chalice. It was our last shot. Light exploded from the chalice and the shadow monster froze mid-move. It worked! My spirit allies wrapped around it, dragging the frozen monster into the chalice. The monster vanished into the chalice. We'd won, but a voice stopped me cold. It was the white fox's voice, echoing in my head, with a truth I didn't want to hear. These shadow monsters come from your homeworld, it said. You brought them here. I stared at my hands, numb. All this destruction, it was my fault. I'd brought these horrors here. But I couldn't wallow in guilt. I had to fix what I'd broken, no matter what it took. The chalice glowed faintly in my grasp. There was still fight left in it, and in me. My friend stood beside me, ready to fight. We had a world to save and a mistake to fix. But as we turned, I spotted more shadow figures in the sky. We weren't done yet. I gripped the chalice tighter, ready to face whatever came next. I wouldn't let my mistake destroy another world. Ace knocked another arrow, his gaze sharp. We were going to take back what was mine to protect. Ren bared his fangs, ready to charge. We were no longer just fighters, we were a family. Nate's dagger glinted, his speed ready to strike. Together, we would face the shadows I'd brought here. We sat in the cozy tavern, trying to heal from all the chaos we'd faced. Ace broke the quiet first, his voice as steady as the oak table between us. We don't need magic to protect this world, he said, no hint of doubt in his tone. Ren patted my back, his goofy grin making me relax a little. And I'll train you to use your magic properly, he promised, clapping my shoulder. Nate winked, leaning forward like he was sharing a secret. And I'll make sure we never run out of wild adventures, he said, making me laugh. I looked at them, my chest warm. With friends like these, I didn't need magic at all. We stepped outside, the cool night air hitting our faces as the moon rose. The moon glowed bright, casting silver light over the quiet village. That's when I felt a faint tingle deep in my chest. It was growing stronger, like something long dormant was waking up. I held up my hand, and my jaw dropped when I saw the faint blue glow. The glow brightened, wrapping around my hand like warm water. I looked down, and the broken chalice fragments on the ground glowed white too. The boys stared, their eyes wide as they noticed the magic. It wasn't just my magic anymore. It was tied to them warmer, stronger. I could feel that our powers were woven together, unbreakable. We turned to look at the forest, ready for whatever came next. Whatever darkness came, we would face it together. Our magic, our strength, our friendship, this was our real power. We walked forward, ready for whatever new adventure waited for us. My hands burned with blue magic power I never knew I had, and it was surging faster than ever. Ace's bow blazed with earth magic, matching the power surging through my veins. Ren's wolf eyes blazed with primal magic, sensing the threat creeping closer. Nate moved like a blur, his vampire magic making him faster than the eye could track. Custard howled and grew. He was a giant white wolf, ready to fight beside us. A roar split the night, something dark and hungry burst from the trees. I swung my hooked swords, channeling every drop of magic into each strike. Ace's arrows exploded on impact, tearing through the monster's dark hide. Ren lunged for the monster's throat, his fangs bared, and magic flaring. Nate's dagger sank into the monster, his vampire magic weakening its dark power. Custard clamped down on its throat, holding the beast still as it thrashed. The monster dissolved into black dust, vanquished by our combined magic. We panted, exhausted, but triumphant we'd won, or so we thought. The sky split open, a glowing portal blazing to life above the trees. Inside, floating islands and dragons filled the sky, an entire new world waited beyond. A voice echoed from the portal, booming like thunder, freezing us in our tracks. You've protected this world, it said, but countless others need your help. Ace nodded, his jaw said he was ready to follow wherever I led. Ren clapped my back, his wolf eyes shining with trust. No hesitation, no fear. Nate grinned, already craving the next adventure we were about to start. Custard nuzzled my hand, ready to stand by me through every new danger. We stood together, staring into the unknown. Our greatest adventure was just beginning. But a darker shadow moved inside the portal. Something far more dangerous waited for us. I gripped my swords tighter, magic surging again. Whatever came next, we'd face it together. I stepped through that portal, wondering what insane world awaited us this time. Through the glow, I saw floating islands and dragons. This place was next level wild. Guys, you in? We weren't backing down from this fight. Without hesitation, they nodded. We were in this together, no matter what. One by one, we stepped into the unknown, ready for whatever chaos came next. Our boots hit stone, we were officially in the floating isles world, and it felt alive. Look up, dragons rule the skies here, and they didn't look friendly. That big one's heading straight for us. We need to gear up now. Ace readied his bow, sharp as ever. He never missed a target when it counted. Nate gripped his dagger, ready to strike fast. His vampire speed was our secret weapon. Ren tensed up, ready to shift his wolf strength would crush any foe in his way. Custard transformed into that giant white wolf. His power was always our ace in the hole. We stood together, weapons at the ready. This dragon didn't stand a chance, right? Then it roared, deafening, powerful, and way bigger than we thought it'd be. It dove straight for us, wings creating a wind that almost knocked us off our feet. I raised my hook swords, ready to take this beast head on. No way we were losing here. Ace let the arrow fly dead on target, just like he always was. Nate zoomed in. Fast as a blur, he'd strike where the dragon was weakest. Ren shifted to wolf form. Diving for the dragon, his bite would tear right through scales. Custard went for the throat, our biggest fighter, ready to finish this quick. Or so we thought. 1 minute we're celebrating, the next, we're staring down dragons in a sky full of floating islands. Hundreds of them, scales glinting, wings blocking out the sun like living storm clouds. Ace doesn't hesitate. He draws his bow, arrow aims straight for the nearest dragon's wing. The arrow flies, true piercing right through the dragon's leathery wing, sending out a thunderous roar. The dragon spirals down, crashing into the side of a floating island with a deafening crash. Ren doesn't wait, he shifts mid-leap, his wolf form launching at the falling dragon before it can recover. He sinks his teeth into its neck, growling, as the dragon thrashes beneath him, trying to throw him off. Nate zips in between its legs, slashing at its scales with his dagger, fast as a shadow. I call on the spirits, my hands glowing blue as spectral forms rise to fight beside us. The spirits wrap around the dragon, their light burning through its scales like fire. But our victory is short-lived. More dragons burst from the clouds, twice as many as before. We form a line, backs to each other, knowing we can't outrun this, we have to fight. Then it appears the Dragon King, bigger than all the others combined, its roar shaking the very air we breathe. It unfurls its wings, covering the sun, and for a second, everything goes dark. And then, it breathes fire, an inferno, heading straight for us, fast and unstoppable. We dive out of the way, fire singeing our clothes as it hits the ground where we stood. The fire spreads across the island's surface, turning grass to ash in seconds. I clench my fists, my magic flaring brighter. We can't run, we have to stand our ground. Ace aims for its eyes, his arrow flying faster than I can blink, aimed straight for its left pupil. This is it, one shot to turn the tide, or we're all dragon food. The arrow hits true. The Dragon King rears back, screaming in pain as blood pours from its eye. Ren charges first, leaping onto the dragon's back and tearing at its scales with his claws. Nate zips around its side, slashing at its soft underbelly, his speed making him a blur. I send every spirit I can, summon at it. Blue lights, swarming the dragon, burning through its defenses. The other dragons hesitate, then turn and fly away, leaving their king to fend for himself. The Dragon King's fire roared toward me. This should have been my end. I thought we were done for. Until the fire suddenly stopped. The Dragon King lowered his head and spoke directly in my mind. "You are the tamer," he said. "You will protect this world." One by one, the other dragons stopped their assault, waiting for my command. "Why help me?" I asked. The answer sent a chill down my spine. "The shadow monsters are coming here too. We need your power." My friend stood ready beside me. We weren't backing down. Just then, a dark portal tore open in the sky our worst fear realized. Shadow monsters poured out by the hundreds, hungry for destruction. The dragons roared as one we would fight side by side. My magic flared brighter than ever before. I was ready to protect this world. Ren charged first, his wolf form tearing through the monster ranks. Ace's arrows flew true, taking down monsters before they could reach us. Nate darted between monsters, his dagger striking with deadly precision. The dragons unleashed their fire, turning shadows to ash in seconds. But more monsters poured through. This was only the beginning. I raised the broken chalice, channeling all my magic into a single blast. The blast sent monsters flying. We held our ground, but for how long? We were in for the fight of our lives. And we were ready. Shadow monsters burst from the portal. Our peaceful floating isles are under attack. Giant dragons roar to our aid, breathing fire to hold back the darkness. I call on the spirits, my tamer powers surging to fight alongside my friends. The princes fight with all their might, no holding back against this threat. Our magic merges into one beam. We can't let these monsters spread. The shadows scream as we pull them back. Our combined power is unbreakable. The portal slams shut. But we know this isn't the end. The Dragon King bows, calling us heroes, but his words carry warning. All worlds are under attack by shadow monsters. Only I can stop this chaos. Portals show floating islands, volcanic worlds, places I've never seen before. I can't let these worlds fall. I have to answer this call. The princes stand beside me. We'll face this together, no matter what. We step toward the portal, ready to defend every world that needs us. This isn't just a fight. It's my duty as the tamer they've been waiting for. I can see the shadows in the next world. We have to move fast. Custard growls, ready to fight alongside us. Our bond is stronger than ever. All the portals glow at once. Every world is counting on us now. Our magic flares in unison. We're stronger together than we ever could be alone. The Dragon King warns us the danger is greater than we know, but we won't back down. We leap into the portal. Our journey to save all worlds starts right now. I stepped through the portal, not knowing what new nightmare waited on the other side. The world we arrived in was already under attack by those shadow monsters. These creatures were everywhere, and they didn't seem to tire of killing. I fought alongside the princes, trying to hold off the endless horde. We were surrounded, and I thought this might be our final stand. Then she appeared, a white-haired tamer, with a chalice, just like mine. She was another tamer, and she said she'd been waiting for us to arrive. Her chalice glowed with the same magic light. We were linked by this power. She charged into battle, her spirit powers flaring to match my own. With her help, the tide of battle finally started to turn in our favor. She told me we were part of something bigger, saving all worlds from darkness. But the shadow monsters weren't done more, kept pouring out of the fog. I could feel my powers growing stronger as we fought side by side. Custard fought beside us too, his giant form tearing through the monsters. The battlefield was chaos, but for the first time, I felt we might actually win. Our chalices began to resonate, creating a light that pushed back the darkness. We gathered together, ready to face whatever final threat came our way. Then a larger, more terrifying shadow monster emerged from the fog. I didn't hesitate, I charged at it, ready to end this fight. Lila was right behind me, her powers flaring to aid in the final strike. Our combined light was bright enough to banish even the darkest shadow. The leader let out a final roar before dissolving into dark smoke. We stood there, exhausted but alive, knowing this wasn't the final battle. Lila told me there were more tamers out there, more worlds needing our help. As we spoke, a new portal opened, leading to another world in desperate need. I thought we had the upper hand, until Lila called forth ancient spirits. Then my magic roared to life, ready to weave with hers. Our powers tangled, glowing brighter than any magic I'd ever wielded. The shadow monsters crumbled to dust before our combined strength. We cheered, but Lila's expression froze. She had worse news. These monsters aren't random, she said. They're controlled by a dark tamer. Ace tensed. Already knocking an arrow, we knew we had to find this dark tamer fast. Ren's wolf features emerged, ready to tear through any threat in our path. Nate's dagger glinted, his vampire speed ready to strike at a moment's notice. We marched toward the glowing portal, ready to face whatever waited on the other side. The portal hummed, its magic pulling us in, promising answers in danger. I stepped first, my magic thrumming as the portal's energy surrounded me. Lila followed, her chalice glowing to ward off any unseen threats. Ace entered last, his bow still ready for whatever lay ahead. The portal flickered close behind us, and I felt the shift to a new world. Then, I heard a laugh cold, cruel, and filled with triumph. There he stood, surrounded by shadow monsters, already claiming the world as his own. Our celebration died, we were too late. He'd already taken control here. His dark chalice glowed, a twisted mirror of our own magic. "You're too late," he sneered. "This world, and all others, will soon be mine." But I wasn't ready to give up, not then, not ever. Lila squeezed her chalice tighter, already planning our counterattack. Ace's arrow was already aimed, we weren't going down without a fight. The Dark Tamer blocked our path, summoning shadow monsters to surround us all. Every direction was blocked by those shadowy creatures we were trapped, with no way out. Ace drew his bow, Ren bared his fangs, Nate gripped his dagger, we weren't going down easy. Lila and I called forth spirits to fight with us, but something went terribly wrong. The spirits turned on us, controlled by the Dark Tamer's dark magic. Lila shouted over the chaos we had to combine our chalices to defeat him. We raised our wooden chalices together, magic beginning to surge between them. The chalices began to merge, glowing brighter with every passing second. They fused into a single giant chalice, bursting with brilliant white light. The shadow monsters screamed as the light touched them, turning to dust before our eyes. The Dark Tamer howled in pain, scrambling back from the overwhelming light. He turned and fled through a portal, vanishing before we could stop him. We panted, staring at the empty portal we'd won this round, but it wasn't over. We stepped through the portal, ready to chase him to the ends of any world. The portal's light wrapped around us, carrying us to who knows where. We emerged at the base of a mountain, the air thick with dark magic. We looked up, and there he was, standing at the mountain's peak. He laughed, shouting that this was our final battle. Hundreds more shadow monsters appeared, surrounding the mountain from every side. We gripped our weapons tighter, ready to fight our final battle, win or lose, we weren't backing down. I gripped the giant chalice, feeling its magic surge through my veins once more. Ace fired arrows, taking down the closest monsters before they could reach us. Ren shifted into his wolf form, lunging at the nearest shadow monster with bared fangs. Nate darted between monsters, slashing with his dagger faster than the eye could see. Lila called forth more spirits, and they joined the fray, tearing through the monsters. We stood on the mountain peak, facing the Dark Tamer, who'd terrorized worlds. Dragons soared to our aid, fire blazing against the shadow monsters closing in. Lila and I summoned their spirits, blue light swirling to turn the tide. The princes fought beside us, Ace shooting, Ren charging, Nate dodging every strike. The battle raged, shadow monsters swarming us from every direction. Then he struck black magic bursting from his palm, raw and vicious. We were sent flying, bodies slamming against the mountain rocks. Our giant wooden chalice fell, cracking across its surface as it hit the ground. I thought all was lost, our only hope shattered at our feet. But then, our magic began to flow from our bodies toward the broken chalice. The cracks started to seal, light growing brighter than before. It healed, glowing with power we'd never felt before. We had a fighting chance. I could feel it, this power was ours to wield, to end this once and for all. The princes readied to Ace with his bow, Ren fully wolf, Nate with his dagger. We charged together, dragonfire clearing our path to the Dark Tamer. Shock flashed across his face, he hadn't expected us to rise again. Layla and I lifted the chalice, our magic merging into one blinding light. Our power clashed with his dark magic, light and shadow fighting for control. The shockwave swept the mountain, shadow monsters turning to dust in its wake. He screamed as his body dissolved, but we knew the true fight wasn't over yet. This is it! Our combined magic will finally take down the Dark Tamer. Our magic is merging, nothing can stop this now. The Dark Tamer screams our magic is wrapping around him tightly. His dark chalice cracks, his source of power is unraveling. He's turning to dust. The skies roar as our victory echoes. The blue spirits cheer, they've been freed from his control. Leela turns to me, her voice soft with an unexpected offer. The chalice will open a portal back to my old home on Earth. I glance at the princes, they've become my family here. I don't want to go back. This is where I belong now. Ace tightens his bow, his eyes softening with relief. Nate grins, and Ren's wolfish smile says it all. They're glad I'm staying. I walk toward them, Custard trotting beside me like always. I clap Ace on the shoulder. We're a team, now and forever. Nate slaps my back, and Ren nods, we've got each other's backs. We stand together, ready for whatever comes next in this magical world. This is my home now, with friends who've become family. The giant chalice dims. It's work we're done for now. Custard nuzzles my hand. He knew I'd make the right choice. We turn toward the horizon. Our next adventure is already waiting. We just got back to our world when a new portal tore open above us. I stood frozen between the portal and the princes, my home world on the other side. Ace wouldn't meet my eyes, but his bow creaked in his tight grip. Ren gave me a sad smile, waving me toward the portal. Go protect your family. But Nate stepped forward, grabbing my hand. We're coming with you, he said. The portal flared, showing my Earth neighborhood under attack. My mind raced. I could run, but my family was there. I had to go back. The princes readied themselves, no more bickering. We were a team now. The portal hummed louder, pulling us toward it. There was no turning back now. I took the first step into the light, the princes right behind me. I could see shadow monsters moving through my neighborhood. My family was in danger. Ace had his bow drawn, ready for whatever waited on the other side. Ren shifted into his wolf form, ready to fight by my side. We stepped through together, the light swallowing us whole. I squeezed Nate's hand, my heart pounding. This was my home, and we had to save it. Nate gave me a grin. We've faced worse. We'll protect your home, he said. The street was in chaos. Monster roars echoed in the distance. We had to act fast. Ace had already climbed the roof, picking off monsters from above. Ren lunged at a shadow monster, fangs bared. I gripped my wooden hook swords, ready to protect everything I loved. This wasn't just a fight, it was for home. We fought side by side, our bond stronger than ever. For my home, for us. For a moment, we locked eyes. We weren't just allies anymore, we were family. We finally made it to Earth, but the shadow monsters found us first. The neighborhood's under attack, and everyone's running for their lives. I tried summoning spirits to fight, but nothing happened. Earth has no magic. Thankfully, Custard didn't let us down. He transformed into his giant wolf form. The princes jumped into action, Ace firing arrows, Ren shifting, Nate slashing with his dagger. Nate's dagger struck true, but these monsters are tougher than they look. Ren's wolf form tore into a monster, but we were still outnumbered. Ace took the high ground, picking off monsters one by one with his arrows. Then I saw it, my mom and sister, trapped inside our house by a monster. I had no magic, but I had to save them. I grabbed the baseball bat from the ground. No magic? No problem. I'd fight tooth and nail to save my family. I charged at the monster, blocking my family, bat raised high. Custard joined me, distracting the monster so I could land a hit. The princes saw our distress and rushed to back us up. My mom and sister called out to me, their eyes filled with fear. I fought my way through the chaos to reach the house, Custard covering my back. I finally reached the door, my hands shaking as I turned the handle. I pulled my mom and sister to safety, but the fight was far from over. More monsters poured into the street. We were surrounded, and I had no magic to turn to. But I wouldn't back down. Not here, not when my family needed me. Then, something amazing happened. Our neighbors joined the fight, armed with whatever they could find. Together, we fought back. No magic, just courage and sheer determination. We weren't just fighting for ourselves, we were fighting for our home. For now, we'd push them back. But I knew they'd be back, and next time, they'd be stronger. We'd won this battle, but the war for Earth was just beginning. We had to be ready. I thought we were doomed until my neighbors grabbed weapons and charged. Baseball bats, garden tools, even a frying pan, they weren't going down without a fight. That's when I felt it, a warm tingle in my veins. My magic was back. Not just any magic, this was the magic of hope and courage, pouring from every heart here. I raised my hands and called on the spirits to join our fight. Blue spirits burst from the ground, swirling around us like a protective storm. Our power merged human grit and spirit magic, unstoppable together. Then he showed up, the Dark Tamer, sneering as he stepped from a shadow portal. He unleashed dark magic, but our combined light swallowed it whole. The spirits coiled around him, glowing brighter with every second. With a scream of rage, he dissolved into dust, gone forever. The crowd roared, we'd won. My neighborhood was safe at last. But just as we celebrated, a new portal opened in the sky. It was a gateway back to the fantasy world I'd called home. I looked at my family, then at the portal. What was I supposed to do? Then I saw them, Ace, Ren, and Nate, waiting for me on the other side. I knew I couldn't leave them behind, not after everything we'd been through. My neighbors cheered, waving me on. They knew I had more fights to win. I stepped through, ready for whatever adventure came next. The portal closed behind us, but I knew we'd be back. Earth's magic had taught me something. Courage is the strongest power of all. As we walked into the fantasy world, I knew our story was far from over. But in the shadows, a new darkness was already stirring. I was ready. We all were. I stood torn between two worlds, my birth family and the family I'd chosen. On one side, the life I'd always known. On the other, adventures I couldn't bear to leave. My mom smiled and waved, saying, "Go with your friends, you can always come home." I walked to my family, heart aching but knowing this wasn't a final goodbye. I held them tight, promising to visit often. They'd always be my first home. When I turned to my friends, I knew we had more journeys ahead. The portal glowed bright, ready to take us back to the world of magic. Stepping in, the magic washed over me familiar, warm, like coming home again. We emerged back in the fantasy world, where magic hung thick in the air. A new portal appeared in the sky, glowing with a light I'd never seen before. Inside, I could see floating castles and glowing spirits. This was the Guardian Realm. A voice echoed, inviting us to become guardians of all worlds. Ace's hand tightened on his bow. He was already ready for this call. Ren shifted into his wolf form, eager for the fight ahead. Nate adjusted his dagger, already itching for the next adventure. Even Custard wagged his tail, sensing our new purpose. I lifted my hand toward the portal, ready to step into our destiny. Together, we walked toward the portal, ready to become the guardians this world needed. The portal's light wrapped around us, warm and full of ancient power. As we stepped in, I knew this wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. We were not just travelers anymore, we were guardians. The realm of guardians stretched before us, full of magic and mystery. And whatever challenges came our way, we'd face them together. We stepped into a whole new world. Floating castles, glowing spirits, it looked like a dream. I couldn't believe my eyes. This was the Guardian Realm, our new home and battlefield. Then a voice echoed in my head, deep and urgent. Something dark was rising here. We followed the sound, our boots echoing on the crystal paths, every step filled with purpose. The path stretched ahead, leading us to a castle that seemed to touch the sky. The voice belonged to a glowing figure at the castle gates, its form shifting like starlight. We could feel it, the dark force, creeping at the edges of the light, hungry for power. My grip on my hook sword tightened. This was why we'd become guardians, to protect all worlds. Ace already had his bow drawn, his eyes sharp as it tracked the faint shadows in the mist. Ren's wolf ears twitched beneath his hair, his body already tensing for the fight to come. Nate's dagger glinted in the light, his vampire speed ready to strike at a moment's notice. Even Custard was ready, his tail wagging eagerly, ready to transform at my command. Together, we turned toward the castle, knowing this would be our greatest adventure yet. I spoke loud and clear, we would not let this dark force destroy what we'd worked to protect. With one step forward, we began our march, our resolve unshakable. The path ahead was long, but we had each other, and that was all we needed. The castle's spires glowed with ancient magic, a beacon for all who fought for the light. The spirits surrounded us, their light filling us with strength, ready to fight by our side. My guardian uniform hummed with power, the magic within me ready to burst forth when we needed it most. And then we charged, ready to face whatever darkness waited for us inside the castle.